Hello everyone, welcome to Scott's NBA Talk. I want to talk to you about something. Now, I love to watch basketball, I love to watch a lot of teams, and I am really disgusted with the New York Knicks. Not so much the players, but Phil Jackson. You know, they had 17 wins before he comes there. Alright? Yeah, they improved in wins, but Phil Jackson wants to run the stupid triangle offense. Alright? That may have worked 20 years ago. Alright? Phil, you want the triangle offense run? You go down there and coach the team yourself. Seriously, you should. But you know what? You hoodwinked New York Knicks fans. You know, I'm one of those people that I don't care what team you're a fan of, because everybody's got a reason they love a certain team. But I have respect for New York Knicks. You know, I miss the days of Patrick Ewing and John Starks and Allen Houston, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Latrell Sprewell, Larry Johnson, Marcus Camby. I think Antonio McDyess was on there. I mean, those were the days to watch the New York Knicks. They were exciting to watch. But ever since like the 2000s, they've just been awful. They've had a couple of good years, and that's it. I mean, I don't get it, you know. You go hire Derek Fisher, who has no coaching experience. Alright, and then you turn around, you want Kurt Rambis, who's got a god-awful record. I don't think he's even won 30% of his games as a coach. And then, I like Jeff Hornacek, but he forces the triangle. And I am proposing, and I hope all the New York Knicks fans will get behind me, fire Phil Jackson and hire Scott Meckley. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I live in Orlando, Florida, and I would move to New York if they fired Phil Jackson and hired me. I'll tell you, I'll do it for $3 to $4 million a year. You get me $3 to $4 million a year, give me, I'd say 4 to 5 years, tops. I know we don't have 4 to 5 years, but it just seems like they're always in a rebuild. And to me, you build this team around Kristaps Porzingis, Carmelo Anthony, and y'all gonna think I'm crazy. This is probably the first thing I've agreed with Phil, the pick he picked at this 8th pick. I know some wanted Malik Monk, which would have been a good pick. But my thought was this. The last time Carmelo Anthony thrived really well was when he had a pass-first point guard. He had Jason Kidd, what was it, about 3-4 years ago? I don't remember the years now. I know it was about a few years back when they won 54 games. Because there was a lot of veterans on that team, but still, won 54 games. Jason Kidd was your point guard. He was pretty good when Chauncey Billups was there. You know, he just thrives so much better with a pass-first point guard. Melo likes having the ball a lot. And Carmelo Anthony, to me, is one of the most clutchest scorers I've ever seen. If I want the ball, I want somebody to take a shot in the last, 5 seconds of the game, or even, the last second. Carmelo Anthony's one of my top 10 players today. I'd want with the ball in his hands. Kristaps Porzingis probably shocked all of you. He shocked me. I was completely surprised. I didn't know much about him. I just knew he was 7'3". All I kept hearing was comparisons to Sean Bradley. I'm like, yeah, Sean Bradley one really good year and that was it. And well, not a really good year, but an okay year. But he's better than Sean Bradley, that's for sure. Matter of fact, if I'm GM of the Knicks, KP is getting respect. Carmelo is getting respect. If Carmelo wants to be traded, I would get on the phones and try to find somebody. But if he wants to stay in New York, I'm going to do the best I can to treat him with respect. You know, he deserves it. You know, he is one of the reasons, you know, New York's exciting. Him and KP. And, Willie Hernangomez, I can't say his name. I have trouble saying a lot of the foreign names. Frank, I like, you know, I want to see what this Frank Ntilikina or whatever is. I liked Courtney Lee was an okay signing. The Joakim Noah one was a little, if you would have did this 5 years ago, I would have loved it. But it's tough now. But my goals, if I was a GM of the New York Knicks, of course, they aren't firing him right now, but if say they were and they hired me like right now, what they have, $30 million in cap space, I'm gonna probably say 25, 28 million after the, you know, if they sign Frank Ntilikina. All right, my first goal I would try. Now I know he probably wouldn't come here. Would be go for Chris Paul. Now what would I do that Frank Ntilikina? Well, you could stash him for a couple years. Or, you know, you can have him come off the bench and learn from Chris Paul. This team does need a point guard. And you imagine Chris Paul, him learning from Chris Paul, a pass-first point guard, but he can also score. That would be incredible. But I know Chris Paul, that's like a long shot. Jeff Teague would be an okay player. George Hill would be solid. But also, you know, I would look for decent free agents, you know. I would look for free agents who could defend and score. I would look for some, like, kind of two-way players, kind of. I don't have a list of free agents on me, so, like, I can't think right now. There's a bunch of them out there, but I don't know if there's a bunch of two-way players at the moment. But I would not trade KP or Melo unless they wanted to be traded, which that would be hard. I would not. I would try to give them all the respect in the world. You know, that's to me who you build this team around. All right. Now some people would say I'm crazy here. I would give Jeff Hornacek one more year, but I would tell him to run whatever offense that gets us wins. You don't have to run that triangle unless you want to, which I really don't encourage it. Whatever, I think it was, what is it, pick and roll and ISO maybe? He ran in Phoenix. I thought what he ran in Phoenix was good. I think they won 47 wins and they didn't even get to the playoffs because they were, you know, Western Conference was real tough. But I thought he did really good. And I would love to see him kind of run something like that. You know, a run and gun maybe, like what Mike D'Antoni runs maybe. I don't know, but, you know, defense. You got to have some defense. You know, you got to have some guys that can come off the bench and score. You know, we need some great, I mean, I like some of the pieces on this team. You know, I like Courtney Lee. I like Melo. I like KP. Kyle O'Quinn's okay. I love I think Willie Hernangomez should start. I'm not a fan of bringing back Derrick Rose only because of his injuries. If I were, it would be like 2 years and that's it. But I don't want to pay a ridiculous amount for him. I would not want to pay a ridiculous amount. But, like, I would rather have CP3 if I'm going for a point guard. He'd be the perfect. Jeff T would be being okay. George Hill. If Drew Holiday didn't have a history of injuries, I would go for him. I wouldn't mind him. But, I'm just sick of the way KP and Melo are treated by Phil Jackson. You know, like I said, I need 4 to 5 years. You know, this is not going to be, and no, I'm not going to tear it down. I'm going to build from what's there right now. You know, Melo, KP, Hernangomez, Frank Ntilikina, you know, Courtney Lee maybe, you know, maybe if Courtney Lee, I don't know. Courtney Lee's he's a decent NBA player. But I would build from that and try to, you know, add some decent bench. Ron Baker seemed like he played good in spurts. But I mean, you got to have some defense. We got to get these guys to play. And I would try this. I don't know if I could pull this off, but I would love to see Gary Payton as like a defensive coordinator for this team. Like, I would try my best to talk to Gary Payton, because to me, he is one of the best defenders I've ever seen. I used to love to watch Gary Payton. I mean, he was probably one of the best defenders against Michael Jordan. Kind of like Kawhi Leonard is against LeBron James. Even though, yes, the Bulls won that finals, he played Michael okay, pretty good. And I think he could teach the Knicks on some defense. If the Knicks didn't hire me, I think they should go for Joe Dumars. He was one of the best executives for Detroit. I think he took them to they won a couple NBA finals and 6 conference finals in Detroit. I think Joe Dumars, if you can't, I don't have the qualifications that Joe Dumars has, but I don't want to see this team. I want to at least try to give the fans hope, because I know you love the city of New York. I've never visited. I would love to come visit New York. But I would love to try to help this team. I see, how Phil Jackson does Melo and blah and Kristaps. It's just garbage. I think it's funny Kristaps didn't show up. The thing. I thought it was hilarious. I tried tweeting him earlier, and I hope he tweets me back. I think it'd be cool. He's one of my probably favorite young players to watch, Kristaps Porzingis. He's really exciting to watch. I like to watch him. Joel Embiid. I just love it. I know he's on the Sixers, but I like watching. I like seeing how the young players do and see how they, if they're going to improve. I just like watching a lot of players. It's just exciting. I felt like, I was kind of shocked that the Kristaps Porzingis had actually turned out. So maybe Frank Ntilikina could turn out too. I don't know, but just because I think he got lucky in there. But he needs to stop drafting people just to run his triangle offense. Phil Jackson does. It's ridiculous. Like I said earlier, I think it's outdated. It doesn't Popovich uses it in a little bit, but he doesn't use it the whole thing. It seemed like when they had it, you had 2 7-footers, a shooting guard who was very dominant, and if Phil Jackson really wants to see this team turn around, and I don't believe he does, because personally I think he'd rather be in Los Angeles with Jeannie Buss and the Lakers, which is the reason you should fire Phil Jackson. He won't even travel. I'm really shocked. Actually, I'm not shocked, because it's Phil Jackson we're talking. He didn't take Dennis Smith Jr. Now, I know he's not a pass-first point guard, but he kind of reminds me of Russell Westbrook. But I think he'd get his teammates more involved. I think this year, only reason Russell Westbrook did that was because he wanted to average a triple-double. But I think Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be a star. I'm not sure about Frank Ntilikina. I think he might be an okay player. If he can go out there and get 8 or 9 assists and 12 points, that'd be kind of cool. It wouldn't be great, but if not, I don't think Minnesota will give up Ricky Rubio, because that's another pass-first point guard. Can you imagine Rubio passing to, because Rubio don't necessarily have to go out and score. But, and it looks like the end of last year he got better in the shooting, but I'm not sure Minnesota will give up Ricky Rubio. But that would be a guy I'd go for. But, they need a pass-first point guard. And I think they may have it in Ntilikina, but I just don't trust Phil Jackson the way he's running this team. Like I said, I'll do the job for $3 to $4 million. But James Dolan needs to get out of my way. Let me go out there, try to get on the phones, try to recruit. I'll even go watch some college ball just to see the next year players. Even though that's what scouts are for, but I would love to go watch some college ball just to see. And I think it would be neat, I've never, other than 2K, and everyone's played 2K, it's probably been a GM. But I know this is not 2K, this is a lot different. But, I would love Melo and KP to be able to stay in New York. I don't want to see them traded. But like I said, if Melo is unhappy, I will try to get on the phones for him. And try to make the best deal I can. Definitely try to get some draft picks if possible. Because like I said earlier, I feel Carmelo is one of the most clutchest players. And you all should go on Twitter, start a hashtag, FirePhilJackson, hire Scott Meckley. That's M-E-C-K, M as in money, E-C-K-L-E-Y. I live in Orlando, Florida. I played basketball in 8th grade. Now, that's all I know. But, as bad as Phil Jackson has done as an executive, I can't do any worse. Seriously. The only way I could do worse would be trade off Melo, Kristaps, everybody that's good. I'm not going to go tank mode. No. I'm not saying we're going to make playoffs next year if I was there, but I'd like to at least see it the year after. I would like to see us in the playoffs. 5, 6, or 7 seed at the worst. It's ridiculous. The crappy treatment KP and Melo gets. Now, everybody that's a New York Knicks fan, I want you to send me your comments on what you think about my idea. Like I said, I'm going to repeat it one more time. I would try to go for Chris Paul. If not, maybe one of the other point guards. Or I would try to get some bench who can play some defense. 2, I would keep Jeff Hornacek for 1 more year. And I would let him run whatever offense he wants. I'd like to see what he ran in Phoenix again. If that doesn't work, then like the next year, I would try to bring in Mark Jackson. I really would. Some would say, why not do it now? I feel Hornacek is just getting bamboozled, just like the Knicks fans are. Phil Jackson, 11-time champ. But I'm sorry, I have felt he's overrated as a coach. I have always felt he was overrated as a coach. Some people say, well, I feel that way because what, he's done in New York. No, I felt that way before he even came to New York. Overrated as a coach. Because he had Shaq and Kobe, and I would have loved to seen him take a team, about 5-6 years ago, when Minnesota didn't hardly have anybody. I'd love to have seen him take them to the playoffs. Now, that would have been interesting to watch. Then I would have put him in that category. But, Phil Jackson, you have been a disappointment. And I rarely try to speak negative of people. You have been a disappointment as an executive. You need to be fired. If not me, Joe Dumars, who should be up there, I'd even go as far as to say Stephen A. Smith off First Take. He's a big New York Knicks fan. And I would. If I'm going to tell you that if I'm a GM, I would love to hear your opinions on what you think I should do. What you would love to see. And I'm not saying I could do it, but I would try. But send me your comments on what you feel about Phil Jackson. Should he be fired? Would you want me as your GM? If not me, who would you want? Send me your thoughts. Thank you.